Each week, nearly a dozen movies are released theatrically. 40 films a month, more than 400 a year. That's a plethora of cinema. Too much cinema. You'd have to be an addict to see all that, but don't fret. We've got you covered. This is CinemAddicts.
Heyo! Welcome to CinemAddicts, episode 160. Gregor, 160 of these things. I've done a couple of them with you. And today we're going to be talking about the last, not two, not three. Oh, I guess, yes, three. Geez, no, you stop. The mixing of it all. The last 3 weeks of September. Gregor, what do you think? Gregg's he was a Broadcast Film Critics Association member. He is now a Critics' Choice member. Kids' Choice Live Awards.
Soon to be AARP member. I'm 51. So everything that you just said, Anderson, I completely forgot. I'm so old right now, I don't even remember anything what's going on here. So right. You're going to be working with an old man moving forward with CinemAddicts. Are you okay with that? Are you all right?
Going to be.
Okay, it's been a while, right? You've had to put up with my pretty senility, right? So it's one of these things. A little bit melancholy. Anderson was wondering, folks, when he looked at me on the Zoom camera, why I looked depressed. And I go, that's my happy face. Wait till you see my sad face. So it was that bad, Anderson. It was that bad.
Meet. I mean, I know you well. I know. I can tell you something's going on. Something's going on with Gregor. There's always something going on with Gregor, but right now there's a little bit more going on with Gregor, and I can sense it.
It's just me, the weariness of age. I feel like a Eugene O'Neill Long Day's Journey into Night play. It's one of these things. I need a brew. I need a drink. I haven't drank or drunken in a long time. I haven't been a drunk person. I need a nice glass of beer.
When's the last time you got hammered?
Probably 10 years ago. It's been 10 years.
Greg.
It's been when I was in downtown. It's been a long time, Anderson. Been a long time.
Gotta get hammered every now and again. I'm not trying to,
well, you're a father. You're married, and you have a mortgage and whatnot. When's the last time you got inebriated? Just maybe a light buzz. When's the last time you had a light buzz?
A light buzz? I don't know. I had 2 whiskeys on ice Saturday night when my mom was in town, and we sat up and watched the Three's Company and caught up. And I had two whiskeys. They're pretty nicely healthy pours because I poured myself. But I ended up, the second one actually I didn't even finish. I'm like, I got out of bed and I poured it down the drain. But yeah, I was feeling a little bit less concerned about things. But no, I don't get like inebriated. My buddy Tyler from the After Disaster, he came over during the summer with his kid. This sounds very, I realize as I'm saying this out loud, this sounds very, very irresponsible, but it was a pool party, just his kid, my kid, because they're like similar in age, sure. and Tyler and I, and we ended up splitting a case of just lager, like Coors Light and then Bud Light. And we didn't see it coming. And it was 8 hours of drinking, and we each had like 12 beers, and neither one of us was like hammered. We all, we felt good, but I haven't been hammered like college hammered for years, Greg.
Wow. And Tyler was able to drive home. Tyler was able to drive home with the 12. I mean, over 8 hours, drinking. I guess.
He stopped drinking for 2 hours, and I tried to get him to spend the night because I wanted to get frisky with him because I love his new look. And he denounced and he left after drinking crushing water for 2 hours. So, anyways, what are we doing? We're talking movies. Let's talk movies, Gregor.
I just have a curious question because I'm not a whiskey drinker. Does whiskey, after a couple with ice and everything, does it make your brain clearer? Like, let's just say you were going to do whatever you need to do with writing or whatnot. Do you think maybe a little bit of whiskey helps with the work, or is that a myth?
Not a myth. I don't want to. I don't want to promote drinking, but I mean, it's not a mistake that so many writers drink. It's because you got to get out of your head. You got to make the mind a little limber, lubricate it a little bit, I think. Okay. And I think it gives you permission to go down certain avenues that you otherwise would not. If that makes sense.
Okay, not to promote drinking, but Anderson, some of your best writing was maybe after a nice little scooch of whiskey, maybe, possibly.
Not scooch, but what's fun? We talked about this a few weeks ago. Is like when you're writing, you're not sure where the story's going to go. Like the first draft, more often than not, I will do it late night where it's the end of the night and I'm kind of, having some Anderson time. And my mind is freed up, a little bit limber. When I'm doing rewrites, though, not so much. Rewrites are much more like, coffee in the morning, getting down to brass tacks type thing. But yeah, when you're first developing the stories and fleshing out the characters, and a lot of the time with stories too, you got to sit there and think about like what this character would do. And, you're doing it with maybe a little drink in your hand.
Very, very good. Yeah. Some of the best.
I haven't written though in the last couple of years because Atticus is all up in my business.
Do you miss the writing, Anderson? Because I remember when you were writing, you were in a really good place. You were just really locked in on the stories and the story structure, as opposed to rewriting when you had that blank canvas of imagination. I remember those days, Anderson, when you were all passionate about it. Do you miss it?
I still am passionate about it. I just have not allowed myself to write anything brand spanking new, except for that thing that I started with COVID. Because what happens with me, I'm about to get back to it, but like I'm lost when I'm in the middle of writing something. If it's new, I'll be sitting there with my family or with Jillian, and she'll be like, "Where are you?" And I'm just thinking about the story like day and night. It's obsessive. You got to be. So,
right now, the reason why you haven't been writing in the last couple of years, Anderson, is you've been busy, doing the stuff with Addie's Antique estate sale, your job, the podcast, and
that's a nice transition. But let me just go back. I'm always writing, Greg. Always writing. Like this phone is just filled with notes. But yeah, I have not sat down with final draft in probably a month and a half now, which is a long time for me.
You've been sitting down watching movies, Anderson, and so lately I'm a little bit disappointed. I have listened to a couple of TFV episodes. Your review of 3,000 Years of Longing, I actually gave it on our CinemAddicts podcast.
Minus 3,000, and then you upped it to minus 6,000. You're very cheeky.
I'm very cheeky on that. No, it was 2 stars, and AKA minus 6,000 stars. But you really enjoyed it. Would that be one of the movies from last month that are on the top of our list that you would recommend to our listeners?
I would recommend that movie. And like I said on the Film Bowl, I guess you heard it, but like the inherent problem with those type of movies, stories about stories, is it's not really great watching characters tell a story, and then we get the flashbacks and we get to actually get into the story and see it. But I don't, it's the old adage, like, show don't tell, and stories about stories are going to be a lot of telling and not as much showing. Now it seemed to get it into its groove the second half, and I ended up liking it a lot more than I was anticipating. Also, it's one of those things where I went in to George Miller's new one hearing bad things and thinking it was going to be awful. So if I went in, thinking it was going to be the next Mad Max, and I was ready to have my socks, ripped off my feet and thrown across the room, and my life changed, I would have been very disappointed. But I went in thinking like, got to get through this one, and it was a delight.
And a little bit of, so that's a delight. Is there anything else within the last several weeks? I know it's not Squeal. All of us, Bruce and Eric and we all loved it. And I apologize that you and Brian had to go through the Squeal experience. Right?
Didn't love Squeal. Let me ask you as a critic, like that is one of the biggest things, is tempering expectations one way or the other. And it's not, it's not a controlled environment. There's very little control of you try and have control of your emotion. And the best thing I can do is not be drunk while watching a movie, not be under the influence of anything. And that's my number one rules. I don't watch it while in altered states because I want to. But if you go in with expectations, which I try to have none, but it's human nature. It's almost impossible not to have none. So a lot of the time I'll go in thinking that, thinking it's going to be really good or thinking it's going to be really bad. And I try not to. I try and just go in like, I don't know what this is. I'm going to look through this window for 2 hours. How do you do that? Do you try and temper expectations?
No, I'm horrible.
Because that has the biggest impact, I think, on the way you experience the movie.
You act more like a critic than me. I'm completely biased all the way. And and I think it shows with some of my tastes. Look, De Palma is my favorite director, and is he really one of the best directors of all time? Probably not. Oh. So I think you are. Yeah, you're more tempered than I am when it comes to movies. I always go in with a lot of with certain expectations, and then I get it colored. I'm looking right now at a Tumblr mix, a Tumblr free gift that I got from Amazon Studios of this movie called The Tender Bar with the Ben Good Affleck, and right. I was expecting. I'm kidding. I was expecting a really horrible film, and I think I came in with really bad expectations, and it fulfilled those expectations. So I don't know if you've ever seen it, and I don't think you probably ever want to see it.
I got some heat because I was screaming and yelling at Tyler for watching that. He was talking about it on the After Disaster, which we don't really talk about. We talk about everything on the After Disaster, but
sure.
He's kind of casually brought up that he watched The Tender Bar, and I became enraged because there's so many good movies out there, and for him to be wasting his time watching that drivel was very upsetting to me. When this is a man who's never seen Thunder Road.
Right, exactly. Did he actually defend the drivel? Did he say, "Oh, well, by the way, Anderson, you're mistaken"?
Oh, he seemed to have enjoyed it. Yeah, it was a very good performance. I don't know why he sounds just like Brian in my head. He's like, there are some good set pieces. I quite enjoyed The Tender Bar. And then I got bunch of emails from listeners saying, how dare you talk about a movie you've never seen and denounce it. So I'm like, hey, fair point.
So, I mean, I guess within this giving season where, the year's almost over, possibly, Anderson?
Greg, don't say that. That's stressful. Got so much to do this year.
I'm just saying the Tender Bar might be a giving time. You might, on a given day, have some of those whiskeys you have, or maybe a nice beer.
Not
maybe
going to drink and watch the Tender Bar.
Okay, maybe night. Next time when I'm over to Cold Cockle Productions, we might after we record our Patreon episode. By the way, we may maybe a couple of minutes of the Tender Bar. Maybe. What do you think?
No.
Right? Okay.
Greg, no.
Okay. Well, we have a lot of movies to watch on our Patreon episode anyway. Because you picked. What did you pick? You picked Black
Sunday, Greg.
Black Sunday.
Bruce Dern as a terrorist trying to take the Goodyear blimp, the actual Goodyear blimp, to the Super Bowl to kill as many people as possible. That is Black Sunday, 1977's Black Sunday, a movie that absolutely 100% would not have a prayer of being made today. In the fashion that it was made, using the actual Goodyear blimp, using the actual NFL logo and the actual Super Bowl in light of, the world that we live in today. Imagine the NFL ever signing off on a movie where like, oh, yeah, you want to construct a movie around possibly killing everyone at our Super Bowl, which no one's even allowed to say Super Bowl. This might be illegal right now. Me just saying Super Bowl. I might have to say the big game because they trademarked it. And you're not allowed to. You know what I mean?
Well, it's a good choice. John Frankenheimer. I mean, he's one of my favorite directors. I still haven't seen Black Sunday, so I'm excited to see it. You've already done the homework. You've already seen it. Our second choice, by the way, we're spotlighting for our Patreon episode, the year 1977, and I'm making it sort of an audible, and I apologize already, Anderson, for this choice because this is our good buddy, Bruce Perky. He's obsessed with this filmmaker named Larissa Shepitko. Russian filmmaker, and the movie is called The Ascent, and I really enjoyed it. It might be another Squeal experience or a Giallo Suspiria experience for you, Anderson. So ahead of time, excited. Check us out on Patreon, 1977. Anderson seems to really love Black Sunday. Let's see what he thinks of this movie called The Ascent.
Jump to conclusions.
Okay, well, I see how me and my bias.
John Williams did the score too, and you can tell that he didn't really step up to the plate. I think John Williams watches. I think a lot of these big guys will probably watch a movie and they'll be like, all right, let me see what kind of effort I want to bring to this project.
Oh wow!
I'll bring my C game.
You know what? You have a situation. You're like a mob hit. Anyone with Spielberg and his crew, I think you're targeting Steven Spielberg.
Targeting Williams. I'm just saying, like, watch Black Sunday and see if any of his score gets in your head at all. Like a couple times, you're like, oh, that's John Williams, and then it just goes right away. This is the man who did Jaws or Star Wars or Superman, and it's insane. And like, there's really very little John Williams in Black Sunday. I need to hear from Bruce Perky why he loves this director so much, because
I love Frankenheimer, but as far as the Ascent, Larissa Shepitko. Okay. This is a little bit of a tease. I think Anderson might have already seen The Ascent. We'll see what happens next week on our Patreon when we record it for you guys, for you CinemAddicts listeners who subscribe to Patreon. Black and White takes place in the snow. Oh, okay. So a lot of contrast going on, a lot of high contrast. Anderson, I try to listen. You've been a friend for how many years? I know deep down inside your favorite movies are snowbound movies, and I said, not true at all. Before we get to this week's previews, is there any other big recommendation from the last month, Anderson, that you want? Yes. Okay, what's the big one? Yes, there is, Greg. Yes, sir. Hey, we mentioned that you can see our beautiful faces on the old video, like that. This is on the old YouTubes now, and every single show that we do, and every show that you do with the old Eric and Bruce over there. I don't even know who those guys are. It's just me and you right now. You can see. Oh, yes. You can see how we do it. You can see us doing it, and I'm on the fence, but I understand that this is like part of the part and parcel, and you kind of got to do this now. So. Wish I could have done it back in my sweet threesome days. That I can tell you, when I had my long hair. Actually, I think I met you right around that time when I had my long blonde hair, and I looked. Actually, no, it was right after that. Oh, really? I met you with like spiky blonde tips. I think I remember those years. I remember you with the tips. Yeah. That's when I met you. You missed my Kurt Cobain hair days, which you're probably lucky. Did you have the big military boots, the black military boots? And I didn't have combat boots. I wasn't that combat. No, I was one of the bands. Oh, but hey, speaking of that time, there was movies that came out in that time and that were kind of grungy and kind of dirty looking. And Owen Kline, kid
who played Frank in The Squid and the Whale, has made a movie, and I highlighted it last time I got together with you, Greg.
Yes.
Not August 26th. It's called Funny Pages. It's shot on film. It's 90s style indie. And while this movie is not for everyone, I would say of our audience, I'd say probably 2 out of 5 of our audience listening right now will love this movie as much as I did. I absolutely love Funny Pages. If you like
Crumb,
American Splendor, Crumb,
Ghost World
to a lesser extent, because this one's much grungier and dirty. Safdie Brothers. It's got a Safdie Brothers vibe for sure.
Right.
It's got a bit of a Harmony Korine vibe, but the lead is great. The dark humor is fantastic. Todd Solondz definitely comes to mind. I really like Funny Pages quite a bit.
You liked it, but you also said you loved it. Is it more on the love side or the like side, Anderson?
Thinking it's love. I was really enjoying this movie quite a bit. It all kind of, I don't know if it really stuck the landing for me. It's a short film. I would have liked a little bit more. Also, it's got a little bit of Alex Ross Perry.
Yes.
Vibes to it. Listen Up, Philip, and Color Wheel. Like it's got like Owen Kline, the little kid, the little brother in Squid and the Whale, has grown up to make something very particular, and I feel like he nailed it. I feel like he made exactly the movie he wanted to make.
It's not called The Sticky Pages?
Because of his work in Squid and the Whale, yes.
Right, yes.
Family show, Greg.
I'm sorry. No, I meant because of he put stickers on the thing in Squid, if I recall.
Owen Kline, as a youth, he wanted to be a cartoonist, and this is all about a young kid. I didn't even say what the movie's about. I wouldn't even call it a coming of age, because I don't know if well, I guess kind of, yeah. There's definitely an arc there for sure, but it's about a young kid who's on the precipice of being done with high school, or just finished, and all he wants to do is be a cartoonist, and all his parents want him to do is go to college and get a real job, and he's obsessed with this very profane, dirty, grungy type of art in comic strips, which are got a cult underground following. And it starts off with a bang. I mean, it's really thinning the herd right off the bat as far as audience goes, because the very first thing that you see are like up close shots of this really profane comic book strip involving buttholes and genitalia and
sure,
acts that are not worthy of not worthy, not too explicit, very explicit things, and it's just kind of rubs you the wrong way right off the bat. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this movie, but then from there it moves to new places. I really like this movie.
Does the wind up, you said were you disappointed by the wind up? It seems maybe it wasn't a completely full meal. Well, maybe it might be a 4-star film for you. I don't know. It feels like maybe a 4-star, but not a
4.5. It's still marinating. I've seen it like 3 days ago, and I'm still thinking about it, and I'd like to revisit it. Actually, I'd like to put it on while I'm doing something else in the background, because it's just got a good rhythm, good cadence. It's
a new voice. Maybe you're excited about the voice of Owen Kline moving forward.
It was really impressive that he was able to, I don't want to say a brand new voice, because it definitely mimics, styles that I already cited, but the lead kid, I don't have his name in front of me because I'm not doing like a proper review here, but he was great. He was fantastic. He reminded me of a young Mike Carano, for those of you who might know Mike Carano. Oh, speaking of Mike Carano and I, we finally, our business is up and running. We're ready to shoot your video. We're doing Clever Kind Productions. Mike is my partner in this now. It's a production company that I created during COVID, actually, and now we're just finally getting going. We have all the equipment you would need, all the ideas you could need. Mike and I together will come up with something that is definitely unique. We can color inside the lines. We can go way outside those lines if you want. So Mike and I are a great team. We were working on that documentary for a while together, and we're like, why don't we do this together? So if you would like any more information on Clever Kind Productions, on any kind of video shoot you might need for your business, or stills, or editing, or color processing, color correction, and grading, everything, we do it. We literally can do anything. There's nothing we can't do. So hit us up, cleverkindproductions.com.
Wow, had no idea, Anderson. That's very cool.
That's how I got to make a living. I mean, Addie's Antiques is fun to do with the wife, but I mean, I got to put my actual skills to work over here. Now that Atticus is in school, I find myself with time.
It's very interesting. And how, in general, how do you and Mike really complement each other as far as the workflow goes, as far as what will people get when they get the Mike and Anderson package? Because that's very interesting.
Mike will get you phenomenal images. I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen his work, but that guy can shoot. He knows his cameras, whether he knows it or not. Mike's one of these artists who, thinks all of his work is terrible, but, people who look at it know it's not. So I keep him on track. I will definitely, get the best work out of Mike just by telling him it's good, let's do this and let's continue. So I give him the confidence that he needs. I also do all the business side of things and talk to the people. And once we're on set, it's a lot of fun because Mike and I just, Mike is very fun to be around. Like, you just feel good when Mike's around, and he's a funny guy and he's self-deprecating. I love Mike. But then he gets the camera in front of his face and he shoot, and I know how to frame a shot. So we got the 2-camera system. We can do everything in 4K, and the turnaround is quick too, because Mike will be beholden to having things finished and delivered. Don't have him shoot your wedding for free, but if you pay him, he'll get you the stuff. But like, I think Tyler's still waiting for some pictures that he shot 12 years ago of Tyler's wedding. But if you pay him, he'll get the stuff done lickety split. So
that is very cool. Really excited for that partnership. Clever Kind Productions. Again, cleverkindproductions.com.
Yeah. cleverkindproductions.com. And it was Mike and I who ultimately came up with the premise for groupers, whether, for better or for worse. I mean, it was Mike and I and Tyler, to a lesser extent, exploring that idea of having 2 homophobes having to be attracted to each other to get out of a bad situation involving a finger trap. And that was Mike who kind of got with the very sophomoric idea that ultimately was all what groupers was all centered around. So that's just one example. We also do Mike also does miniatures and stop motion animation. So he's done some really good work for Dana Gould and IFC Films and stuff that's been on TBS. He used to work for Dennis Miller. He shot like every comedian you can imagine while he was the head photographer at the Improv. I mean, Mike is very, very good. And the 2 of us together will make a very strong team.
I'm very excited. I am very, very excited.
You want us to shoot, buddy? You got a bar mitzvah coming up or anything?
I am definitely. If I had some sweet cash, you guys would be the first people I'd hire. Not just because you guys are friends, but I literally like that combination. No doubt. So
Mike and I.
Yeah, I think that's a winning combination. Okay, and I sound like an ad person, but no, you guys are very, very talented. I'm very excited to see you guys work together. Not just, I mean, you guys are very, very close friends, and I think you each have very interesting separate talents, which will combine very, very good.
And we know each other very well. We know how to work well together, and it'll be fun. It'll be a whole lot of fun. So yeah, let's get this going. All right,
let's get this going. Thanks, okay, yeah, no worries. Okay, so this week. Are you excited? There's one movie I'm really excited.
Have you seen anything that was worth talking about since I saw you last?
Okay, so I'm going to tell listeners, do not see 3,000 Years of Longing. Even
Greg, get off it.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, but
I know Eric saw Clerks 3 last night. I talked to him on the way home from the Film Vault, and he enjoyed it quite a bit. And I know the critics' consensus is fresh.
Oh, very. Again, I don't know who Eric is. Very interesting. Got to meet this guy one of these days.
Eric Hamslime.
Hamslime. Eric Hamslime at gmail.com. No, look. There's a movie called Medieval. I know you and I,
different things.
Okay, come on. You and I both love Ben Foster. We've reviewed the program years ago on CinemAddicts.
Love the program.
Yeah, you like Stephen Frears.
Lance Armstrong.
Yes, we both enjoyed it. Very underrated film. Ben Foster, underrated.
You know who else? I'm sorry, you know who else is in the program?
Who
Jesse
else?
Plemons.
Jesse Plemons. Okay, this is a movie that maybe I would love to revisit again, just because Jesse Plemons' star has risen so much. That said, Ben Foster in Medieval, you've heard some things. I believe if you're a fan of Braveheart, Kingdom of Heaven, all these epic adventure movies, Ben Foster is the lead in this movie. Don't want to get too much into the plot line. It's just a lot of sword brutality, sword shields, maces. Medieval. He carries medieval. Yeah, it's medieval. So I think if you're looking for a big epic adventure with a lot of violence, like kind of Gladiator style, and you like Ben Foster, Medieval is worth a watch in theaters this weekend. There's a lot of stuff in theaters this weekend, but in my opinion, this movie directed first-time filmmaker Peter Yackel. It's a really well-done film. Sophie Lowe also stars in this film. Michael Caine. So yeah, I really loved it a lot. Eric Hamslime and Bruce Perky did not like this movie as much as I did. I think Eric kind of liked it. He gave it 3 stars. I give 4.5 stars. Would love to hear what you think about it, Anderson, when it comes out, probably on streaming for you, I think. Are you going to see this when it comes out on streaming because you like Ben Foster, Anderson, or you're just...
I don't like him that much. I mean, let's not get crazy.
Oh, geez. Okay. All right. So that was...
I'm sorry, but...
I'm sorry. I thought you loved him as much as I do. 3:10 to Yuma. So
good. I like
the Messenger, Anderson. I almost cried at the Woody Harrelson bit with him. I don't know if you saw The Messenger. Really great movie. Now, for September 16th, Anderson, what is your big pick? Because I have something for you for September 15th on Thursday, the day before.
Did you see that Honk for Jesus?
Honk for Jesus Save Your Soul. Yes, I liked it. Three out of 5 stars. Really good performances. Didn't really stick the landing for me.
Love the performances. The movie itself.
The movie itself didn't really, it's a mild recommend. It didn't, the closing, I love, like you said, sticking the landing, Anderson. It didn't fully, if it had an explosive or actually satisfying ending, I would have liked it a lot more. But again, just for the performances, it's a 3 out of 5 for me. You actually saw this, Anderson? You saw the movie on Peacock?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, no.
Did not enjoy. Did not enjoy.
Oh, no. This is a 2-star Anderson rating. Why did you watch this? This doesn't. Wait, well, I'm sorry.
Did you assigned it? Brian assigned it to me because he lacks. He lacks imagination. I got a movie.
Yes,
I got a movie for September 16th.
Yes,
movie called "See How They Run." Greg, did you flag this one?
I did kind of flag it. I was supposed to go to a screening. I backed out because I don't like to go out. Anderson, as you know, I haven't. When's the last time I visited Cold Cocker Productions? 2017. It's been a while.
I live far away from you now, so I can't blame you.
Okay, no, but it looks like a movie that their Fox Searchlight is burying. It looks like one of these madcap kind of comedies that maybe don't work, but it has a really good cast. I mean,
it does. It has a great cast, and that's mainly why I flagged it. Is mainly it's because it's Sam Rockwell. Who doesn't love themselves some Sam Rockwell? Adrian Brody's also in here. I always mess up her name. Ronan. How do you say it?
Saoirse Ronan. Saoirse Ronan. Yeah, Saoirse.
I ask you how to say it, and then I talk right over you both times. Dave Aiello. I mean, everyone is in this movie, but it's a PG-13, very, very like slick looking. And when I say slick, I mean, what is that? Clean looking Hollywood movie that's overlit type thing. You know what I mean?
Right. Like
Tom George directed.
Who directed? What?
Tom George, who I'm not familiar with.
Familiar? Okay, yeah.
But he's got a pretty good cast here. And he's known for This Country and Defending the Guilty. Those are main movies. He's a British fellow.
I haven't heard much about this movie. Really good cast. Again, this is one of those movies, even though it's in theaters this weekend, I think I'm just going to wait. Maybe give it a shot when it comes out on whatever streaming platform it comes out. But it's interesting because Saoirse Ronan, she's usually known for whenever her movies come out, it's a big theatrical release. And this one, it isn't going to be in theaters, but I think it's going to be ignored when it comes out this weekend. But
I think you're right. So I just thought I'd throw it out there for the Sam Rockwell lovers amongst us. I'm one. What else you got, Greg? I got 2 more for this week.
Okay, well, so I have a big one. Michael Haneke. I know you're not a big fan of the old movie that he did. What is it? Cocoon, Haneke style? I forgot the name of the movie.
More.
I
love me some Haneke though. Give me either Funny Games.
Funny Games. So you like Funny Games a lot, right? You either one, like you said, either. So his version.
You mean Benny's Video? I mean, I've seen a lot of Haneke.
Okay, Haneke. So other than Amour, you like Haneke. Well, there is a movie.
I mean, he doesn't. I almost cussed. He does not. I'm sorry to cut you off, but he does not care about his audience at all, which I can appreciate. Like you get the sense that he does not. You watch a movie and you're like, oh, like. They're making sure that I'm paying attention here, and they're making sure like they're keeping the rhythm. He does not care. Like he doesn't care if everyone's falling asleep for 20 minutes at a time.
Oh, that's very interesting. There's a movie called Speak No Evil. It sounds like a horror thriller. In many ways, it is a little bit. It has some of those touches. But here's the plot line. It centers on 2 families, one Danish, one Dutch. Okay, they have a really nice time in Tuscany. They meet each other in Tuscany. They each have 1 child. Eventually, as time passes, the Dutch family invites the Danish family to their remote house out in the countryside, out in the forest. And the Danish family, they're really excited because they're just a boring suburban family. They live in the city and they want a little bit of outdoorsy, a kind of a weekend outdoorsy vibe. So this Danish family, they go to the Dutch family's home in the forest. And what ensues is a mixture. The story is a mixture of like awkward comedy, which is Curb Your Enthusiasm style, and the aforementioned Funny Games, which it becomes such a horrific experience in many, many ways. Ultimately, without giving too much away, this family who supposedly they're supposed to be fast friends, there's a lot of social interactions where things are mixed signals, social interactions go south. They don't really vibe with each other. And what happens when that happens? Well, I don't know. This family who had a great time in Tuscany, ultimately they're strangers. And what happens when you cohabitate with strangers? something bad can happen, and that is a premise of Speak No Evil. It is exclusively on Shudder starting September 15th on Thursday. And this is one of these movies and also it's an IFC midnight release. I hope it gets a little bit more traction. And this is a movie that I highly recommend that you watch, Anderson. The wrap up is devastating. And I think it is one of these movies that I think as the years progress, you will reference Speak No Evil quite a bit.
Oh, I love those.
Yeah, it's one of
part
those.
of the lexicon, becomes part of the stable of movies to refer to. Love that.
This will be an Anderson Cowan lexicon kind of film, which you can actually. This is what you can go to the well on Speak No Evil, and it'll pay you dividends. So I'm going to make sure that I would love to actually get you a link if possible. So yeah, Speak No Evil.
Did you? Oh, I got it. I got a link from Shudder already.
Oh, very good. You're good.
Please. Why did you bring Haneke into this? Just because it's a Haneke type feel,
right?
Very misleading.
Yes. Well, the bleak and ultimately just the violent nature of things that so this is one of those movies that I would not recommend to a lot of people, like you just said with Funny Pages. This is a very big barrier to entry film, but if you are a diehard cinephile where your taste level is actually like you, Anderson, is very broad, it will, and you don't mind being offended or disgusted or sickened. I'm just saying this is going to be right up your alley.
Sickened in like what, gore fashion? How am I going to be sickened?
In the situation, what happens? It's not gory, but it is violent, and it's a violence that I think a lot of people won't be able to take.
Shy away from. Yes, okay.
Shy away from. So please, and I would love to see. You know what? I would love to see what your buddy Brian thinks of it. Maybe send it to Avery, and you know what? Just because he saw The Tender Bar, maybe send a link to Tyler as punishment. So
he would not watch. I've been trying to get Tyler to watch anything Jim Cummings has done for the last 2 years, and he won't. And then that guy gives me, as many people do, grief for saying no to things and being standoffish. Like, you know, when someone recommends a movie like you just did, like Speak No Evil, I'll probably spend an extra week now not watching it.
Right, like I told you. No. In fairness, remember how much I pumped Dinner in America, and you had to be really forced to actually watch it.
I didn't have to be forced. No, I had good reason. I trusted you. I trusted other people who were telling me. My buddy Garth Donovan from Boston, good friend. I trust him because he knows my taste. Dinner in America, gotta watch it, and I didn't do it because it was not available here stateside, and I didn't want to be gushing about a movie that no one could see. I know a lot of people would like to do that and get the jump, but I don't. It's frustrating as a listener to not be able to see something that you want to see. So I had the link, but I didn't want to talk about it until it was actually available to everybody. Okay, God, I love Dinner in America. Can I tell you that? Have I told you that?
Is it still? But it's still your number one with a bullet this year, right? Is it? Whoa,
there's
number
one.
Way. No way.
Someone might be right behind it.
What? Which one?
You know what might be right behind it? These words.
Don't say. Now. Oh, Speak No Evil. What? No.
R.
Oh wow, I have. You know, as a person of color and minority, I refuse to watch RRR. So
Rise, Roar, Revolt.
Okay, eventually I'll watch it. My mom has seen it before I have.
Your mom has seen it.
My mom loves it, and she told me immediately. She said, "I have to see it," and I said, "Well, it's not in the original language." I did one of those things.
Hey, do me a favor. When you watch RRR.
Yes.
How you plan on watching this thing?
Probably in my iPad. This is little iPad right here, little iPad. Sorry, Anderson. Folks who do not have the video, Anderson just left his Cold Cockle Productions domicile. You know, I mean, if I didn't, this is my iPad, folks. My iPad, and Anderson might not.
Unless you have a 20-foot iPad, I prefer you not watch it that way. Okay?
Is that a euphemism? No, I really don't know. Okay, I'll watch it on my big screen. On the big screen, I do have a big screen in my bedroom, so I watch it that way. So that's a big recommend. Are 5 stars for you, Anderson? Number 2 this year.
Yes. Yeah? So I think I have, you know, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. There's no way. I don't. Those are the 2 best movies I've seen all year. 2 of the best movies I've seen in the last 10 years. Dinner in America and RR. Okay.
What are your picks? What you have? One more pick for September 16th.
I do. Actually, I have 2 more picks. One is a big one. I imagine a bunch of us are going to be seeing this next week. I already have my tickets. I'm going to see Pearl. Got to see how X got to become Pearl, how Pearl became Pearl, the prequel to X.
Right, and you liked X. You gave it a really good review when you saw it. Oh, okay, here you go.
Movie that wasn't made for me, but I enjoyed it. It's just these movies, these horror films. I don't like jump scares. I don't like being, you know, very, very uncomfortable with like violence and like, you know, the ensuing impaling that's about to happen on screen, or like someone looking through the peephole, and like that they're gonna get the thing in the eye. Like I don't. It's an ordeal. However, this was it was a well-made ordeal of a film, and I was laughing out loud by the end, which is the best kind of like. I wasn't laughing at the movie. I was laughing. It was. Have you seen X?
I've not seen X, but I will probably see it because look, let's be fair. You are not the biggest fan of the horror genre. That said, X, do you feel is an upscale of the genre for you? This
for sure.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay,
By West crushed it, and I really like where it ended up. It was pretty interesting, and now we get to wrap up with Pearl, and Pearl, and ends with a trailer for Pearl, which was pretty great. I see. I'm watching the trailer right now. She just took out a goose with a pitchfork. Like I don't. It's an ordeal.
but you actually purchased so you're seeing it this weekend with on AMC. You're actually watching it in theaters.
Yeah, I'll be watching it in the old theater there.
And you're actually literally excited to see it, not just because you have to review it next week for the film ball. This is a literal excitement because you liked X.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more excited than I would be a lot of other movies that I have to watch, such as The Ascent.
Oh. Very good. Thank you. That is, I need to put a drum fill there. That's very good, Anderson. Now, look, was that your last pick for September 16th?
No, the last one, and I think you're going to be on with me here, is Moonage Daydream.
Oh yeah, I'm not a big fan of who's David. David. Yeah.
It's supposed to be a great documentary,
right?
By Brett Morgan, who knows how to make a documentary. And it's all about the old David Bowie over there. And
yeah,
I wonder if they're gonna have his son weighing in. His son is also a filmmaker. I wonder if he had anything to do with it. It doesn't look like it on first glance when I was searching, but David Morgan made a
Brett Morgan
documentary, Montage of Heck, which I liked quite a bit. I produced The Kid Stays in the Picture way back in the day, which was one of my favorite documentaries, all about Bob Evans.
I did the junket for that, and Bob Evans after the interview.
He directed it and wrote it. Yeah.
Oh wow. I have to check it out. Yeah. After the interview, I asked Bob Evans, "Can you sign my book? The Kid Stays in the Picture," and he did. So in the garage.
Did you see the documentary?
I love the documentary, The Kid Stays in the Picture. Really? Okay.
Oh, so you're saying that about
Robert Evans?
You're saying that you have to see it about this new one, which is Moonage Daydream.
Yes.
It's a David Bowie documentary that's been. It's been on the circuit for a while. It's been out there. I've been seeing trailers for this thing like 6 months in theaters. So I should see this, but I'm a Pearl instead.
I'm a big David Bowie. I'm not a big David Bowie fan. I'm just saying, but I do appreciate his music. So I like some of his albums, and I'll definitely, once it gets to streaming, I'll be watching Moonage Daydream, a movie that I'm actually almost finished, but we're recording this and I'll finish it afterwards. It's a movie called, are you a fan of any of those Fletch movies with Chevy Chase at all? Did they land with you? The deadpan dry wit, which you just did with the Bruce Perky reference, which I thought that The Ascent, that was funny. Do you like that Fletch style?
I thought it was I watched it when I was a kid, the original, and then there's a couple others, aren't there? I don't know. I would not call myself a Fletch fan, but I understand the allure. I understand the attraction.
You're not but are you a fan of that?
Excuse me.
The humor when Chevy Chase goes, he likes to, it's here. They've been trying to make another Fletch movie for years. Kevin Smith tried to make one with Jason Lee and Jason Sudeikis as Fletch. Never got off the ground. Finally,
where is Jason Lee?
I know I think he's living somewhere out in Texas or something. Bunker? No, I don't know where he is. He hasn't even been in any of those Kevin Smith films, right?
No, I missed him. He was one of my favorites.
Maybe he was in Jay and Silent Bob for a cameo. But look, Confess Fletch, it's in theaters, on digital, and on demand on Friday, September 16th. John Hamm is Fletch. Look, I like deadpan dry wit humor. On digital, I believe it's worth a look. It feels like a TV movie. So my personal take, don't watch it in theaters. Save your money. Purchase it on digital as a rental. It's worth it if you like those Fletch movies. He's good as Fletch.
And you saw it.
I'm about 80% finished, and I actually liked it. No, I'm not.
Just lie to the audience and let them. You've finished it.
I didn't. I did see it. I did. No, I didn't see it. I'm actually 80% of the way done. But I can't.
The last 20% is the credits. You just stopped watching.
I just stopped watching because Confess Fletch out on Friday. If you like that kind of humor, maybe that might be interesting to watch. I haven't wrapped it up yet, so I can't really give it. Yeah, you know what? Here's the thing. Good. Greg Mottola from The Day Trippers and Superbad. So this is a real director. So and Keeping Up with the Joneses. So who knows? Might be interesting.
Superbad. Remember who was it? It was Seth Rogen and
the McLovin, Jonah Hill. There you go.
No, but like the cops, the guys that played the cops. So it was
the cops.
Hader,
Bill Hader.
Bill Hader and Seth Rogen. Like that was so goofy and did not belong in like the movie is goofy as all, but it was the cop scenes that was just too over the top for me to really. It might be a weird thing to pick a nit with, but is this movie more of that, the cop side of things, or like the kids actually trying to get beer and whatnot?
You know what's here's the thing.
Because one foot of that movie was in reality, like stuff that I recognized from growing up, and the other foot was in like total goofy cops doing donuts and drinking and smoking weed or whatever.
Superbad's a different kind of humor than Confess Fletch. I would say probably, and it's a more ambitious movie than Confess Fletch. You know when someone actually describes a movie as sort of like a breezy...
Superbad's more ambitious.
I mean, because there's a lot more stuff going on. I prefer Superbad more. This is more of like a solid recommendation so far. And it's more of a breezy romp, comedic romp. A lot of people will not like it. Again, there's that barrier to entry. If you don't like John Hamm doing all these quippy stuff, it might not be for you, but I'm that guy. That's my sense of humor. That's September 16th. September 23rd, Anderson, what's your pick for September 23rd?
I mean, there's so much. Is this the oldest trick in the book that we're seeing happening with Don't Worry, Darling, where it's like any press is good press? There's been so much going on, and all the headlines and the things that I'm reading are like, oh, they didn't see this coming, and this is really problematic for this movie, all this controversy. And it's like, is it problematic? Because everyone's talking about this movie, and I don't know if everyone would be talking about this movie if there wasn't all of the controversy going on around it.
Right. It is one of those movies that's getting really mixed reviews, and I haven't seen a review that is really praiseworthy of the film. It seems like a sophomore slump from Olivia Wilde.
Don't Worry, Darling is Olivia Wilde's follow-up to Supergirl. I mean,
Booksmart, you're right. Very good, Anderson.
And it's a very, very different tone. And I got to say, I love the look of it, love the trailer, love myself some Florence Pugh.
And Matthew Libatique. You like that?
Love this. Who? What?
Matthew Libatique, the cinematographer. Matthew Lee.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. See?
I was doing that thing where I pretended like I knew who you were talking about.
And he's one of the DP. I think he used to work with Aronofsky. I could be wrong.
The movie looks great. The props look great. I love MCM. I mean, it looks all the stuff that Jillian and I go out and hunt for at these estate sales, right? Like it's very like and I love Palm Springs as a backdrop. However, Olivia Wilde, I've been hearing reports from people who work in the business as well as that she's a lot. That she's just a lot, and she's got a lot of energy, and maybe it's not all. I've been kind of keeping up with some of the salaciousness of like that her message to Shia LaBeouf. I don't know if you saw that video where she's like trying to keep him on and then walking. Yeah, I still think that she might not have been lying. Maybe she ended up firing him when he said that he could no longer, do what she was asking. And I think he was on his way out anyways, but maybe she fired him. Who knows? If the Florence Pugh thing's really interesting because she can do no wrong. She's an angel, and she may or may not have big problems with Olivia Wilde. Nothing's been substantiated, so I don't know.
She's the only one who gets away with this unscathed because she's getting good notices for her performances.
Yeah.
Harry Styles getting mixed reviews, obviously for his performance. They believe he's overmatched. Now, going back to the look of the
Pine
film,
is not really even getting off unscathed because they're saying that he's completely checked out, not really even paying attention during the press junkets.
Right.
And then they're saying that Harry Styles may or may not have spit on him. Did you see that?
And then Harry Styles came out with the thing like, no, I did not spit. And then they both, it's a whole brouhaha. And maybe, like you said, maybe it's smoke and mirrors to get some kind of revenue in to butts into seats to see Don't Worry, Darling. And I think it might actually work.
It might actually work too. I think it's probably a middling movie with some good performances and some, swings and misses. But I think everyone's going to want to go out and see what all the hubbub's about, right?
Yes. What you and I need to know more about is we need to know more about the actual work of the cinematographer of Don't Worry, Darling, Matthew Libatique. His credits include The Fountain by Aronofsky. He also,
I saw that.
He also did Black Swan by Aronofsky, and he's also the lenser behind Aronofsky's upcoming film that I think you and I are number one with the bullet want to see, The Whale. He's also done that.
Yes.
And see,
I'm glad you brought him up, Greg, because I like the look of this trailer so much. I did something that I don't do as nearly as often as I should, which was look up the cinematographer specifically.
And he also directed one of your favorite films from the last 5 years, Venom. So I'm excited about that. And no, dead air. So that's it.
I would like Venom more today than I did when I saw it, because I have context now. I'm almost finished with the third Spider-Man animated series. Like I'm talking like close to 200 episodes of Spider-Man I've seen since with my 5-year-old since I saw either of the Venoms. So I have much, I know Eddie Brock. I know that Flash Thompson was Venom in one iteration of Spider-Man. I understand Venom much more than I did before.
Do you appreciate Venom even more than some of those Spider-Man films?
Frustrated by, because Spider-Man and Venom should be able to coexist on the silver screen, but they're not allowed to because of Sony and Marvel not teaming up.
Right.
All others, whatever. All right. So that's my only thing. Don't worry, darling. But I got 4 movies to talk about briefly in September 30th. We should just crank through these then.
Yeah, let's go to September 30th. What you got?
September has been a dumping ground, but I was pleasantly surprised in doing the research, not just for these last 3 weeks, but for the 2 weeks prior that you and Eric and Bruce covered. And it's a little bit going back to September 2nd. I was a little bit disappointed that I didn't hear any of you guys bring up The Horror Crowd, which is a documentary interview people who like horror films. Maybe that speaks to me because I'm still confused as to why people like horror films and or Oprah. Both of those things confound me. I'm not sure why people like these things, but yeah, it's a movie revealing independent documentary spotlighting the Hollywood horror community and the people that love horror movies and why they seek them out. I know some very nice people, like some of the sweetest, nicest people I know, love to watch people be butchered on screen. It's just kind of a weird thing, and we all just kind of accept that, right? Like, oh yeah, that's what they're into. They like to watch human bodies be butchered.
Do you think maybe it's saying something about society or something? There's something deeper or not? Is it just pure thrills? Why a lot of people love horror?
I think it's probably pure thrill. Now this movie's called The Horror Crowd. It seems interesting. It looks like a talking head documentary, but that came out September 2nd. I thought I'd spotlight that because I didn't have an opportunity to, Greg.
Oh, very good. Very good. Thank you for that. Thank you. For
September 30th.
Yes, sir.
Of the 4 movies I've pulled, there's one that I'm really excited about. Should I end with that?
Let's start with it. Let's start with the good one. I want to hear it.
You got to tell me you're into Bros. You into Bros? You
Yeah,
excited for Bros? Oh, Greg, look at you.
I'm not married and I'm single. I might as well start being into Bros. So it's a comedy, right? It's a comedy about 2 guys who
Nicholas Stoller is the director and writer. He co-wrote it with Billy Eichner. Now, if you know anything about Billy on the Street or Billy Eichner's work, perhaps on the Lion King remake, Billy Eichner is a treasure. This man is a treasure. He is very cheeky. He's a little see you next Tuesday. I could see like him being very, very mean. If you know him personally, I could see him. He's like a mean Andy Cohen, right?
Yes.
God, he's creative though, and funny, and just quick-witted. And this is going to be done in the same style as Forgetting Sarah Marshall and Get Him to the Greek, because it's the same writer director as those movies, Nick Stoller. However, this is a rom-com with the gay side of things. It's not your traditional heterosexual rom-com. And if you've seen the trailer for this, it's firing, Greg, on all cylinders. I can't wait to see this movie.
Yeah, and the fact that it co-stars Luke McFarlane is in it, and like you said, the aforementioned Billy Eichner and Kristen Chenoweth, who's always talented. We love her. And Amy Schumer, really Jim Rash, some really good Monica Raymond, some really good. The ensemble looks really, really good. So Bros is a movie you will be watching in theaters. That's your top pick. And I guess Nicholas Stoller, I don't know, has he done a movie since Forgetting Sarah Marshall? I haven't really followed his career that much, but he's a very talented filmper. So
he is. And he's kind of, and he's always in someone else's shadow. Again, here he's going to be in Billy Eichner's shadow, and before he was in Siegel's shadow. But he's Neighbors. He did Neighbors.
Get Him to the Greek, the 5-year engagement, and then in 2016 he did Storks. So
Storks. I forgot. Thank you for bringing up Storks, because that was one of my favorite animated movies that I saw that year. Storks was very good.
Okay,
made me cry, Greg. Andy Samberg crushed it.
Oh, you know what? Has Atticus seen Storks? Has he seen Storks?
He did. I had him watch a bunch of like children's movies when he was probably too young. But yeah, he also did Neighbors. If you recall, Neighbors was good. Not great. Neighbors was missing the heart that I think Forgetting Sarah Marshall definitely had, and Get Him to the Greek had maybe a little less. Neighbors seemed to be just straight up comedy. I'm thinking there's going to be some heart. I wouldn't be surprised if I watched Bros and got a little choked up here and there.
Okay, very good. That's a great pick.
Artist.
I think, I should be a Stoller guy too. Yeah, he's very talented. So that is Bros coming out September 30th. What is your second pick, Anderson? I have one.
You have something? I just you only got one?
I got one big one, and I think you know what it is. Come on, my favorite genre is Western.
Yeah, so, Walter Hill's back.
Walter Hill is back. He's 80 years old. He's back for a Western, and that's it. It stars Christoph Waltz. It has Willem Dafoe in it and Rachel Brosnahan's in it. There's some really good actors, and they're working on a film directed and written. This is the key thing. It's written by Walter Hill. Walter Hill, who spent his life in doing so many different kind of movies, but he's best known, actually, even though people love him from The Warriors and Streets of Fire, but his number one go-to, just like my number one go-to, is the Western genre. So this will be interesting. It's only opening in theaters September 30th. And unfortunately, here's the thing. It's getting mixed reviews. Some people who are Walter Hill enthusiasts like me absolutely eat it up like slop. But I don't know. Anderson, this is one of these movies that I think if you're
Did you even
Walter...
see the title? I don't think you did. Dead for a dollar.
Dead for a dollar. Sorry. Dead for a dollar.
Dead for a dollar.
Yes, I love Walter Hill as a filmmaker. I even loved his work with Richard Pryor in Brewster's Millions. I will do it in 48 hours, Anderson. Even, so.
Of course, Gregor, of course.
And Deadwood, he was one of the creators of Deadwood. How can you not? So it's one of these things.
I'm in. It's on my list. I don't know why you're trying to sell me. However, the trailer it's a two-hander, right? It's Willem Dafoe versus Christoph Waltz, essentially. And it's like a age-old story, like a guy gets out of jail and he's looking for vengeance. It's almost like Cape Fear, it seems like, but done in a Western motif. My biggest problem with the trailer is it looks so overly lit and slick and old school Hollywood, which I don't love. I want some realism, and it looks so moody with all the light bits being perfect. And it's supposed to be a Western. I want a little dust and dirt. You know what I mean?
Look, I disagree with you. I do like the old Hollywood look to a lot of things. That said, I will agree with you on the trailer. I was very disappointed with how the trailer came together. I was not excited about it. If I did not know Walter Hill directed Dead for a Dollar and I was watching this trailer, I go,
oh yeah,
this looks like a trailer that, okay, I can probably see on Netflix at the bargain, at one of these bottom of the algorithm kind of thing. It does not look like a Western that I want to see.
It looks like a Redbox movie.
Looks like a Redbox movie, if that. It does not. The images look static. When you're talking about the overlit things, I was just thinking it didn't look
Brian
fluid.
De Palma, almost.
Oh, come on. It didn't. What are you doing? That's so funny. You got me on that. It seemed like
it does, though. Brian De Palma did the exact. That was my biggest problem with the Untouchables. Is it's just too plastic.
The audio, Anderson. Again, you're not coming through on the audio, so it's very.
Plastic, Greg. It's
what?
Just.
It's what? No.
Just, I mean.
Yeah. Not coming through on the other line, Anderson. So no, what did you say? Brian De Palma's most fluid. Yeah, he is a great visionary. Thank you. Is that what you said, Anderson? About
what else you got for the 30th of September?
That's it. So Dead for a Dollar. I'm excited for it. I'm gonna get a screener for it. I hope. What's your next pick for that for September 30th?
I mean, it's embarrassing, but I got to be honest. I'm because of the people involved, I'm a little bit excited to settle in and possibly watch The Good House. I don't know if I'm going to find time in my life to watch The Good House, which is a dramatic comedy romance between Sigourney Weaver and Kevin Kline. Have seen any?
Are you doing it because his son just directed one of the films that you loved? Are you throwing him a bone? Are you throwing Kevin Kline a bone?
His son. Owen Kline is not Kevin Kline's son.
Yeah. Is it?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Really? Oh, my bad.
No,
yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
I for the longest time thought that Richard Kline, who plays Larry in Three's Companies, was brothers with Kevin Kline, and then I learned, and I said that numerous times, like on.
Owen Kline's the son of Phoebe Cates and Kevin Kline. Didn't you know that?
I didn't know that. I love learning new stuff.
I don't trust my own knowledge, so I'm gonna look them up right now. But I was okay. So this is like a Cocoon, a Golden Girls kind of movie. Is that or you just love them because of the memory flashbacks?
I'll tell you why. Maya Forbes is the co-director of this, and she made one of my favorite movies of the last 10 years, and that's Infinitely Polar Bear. And she's got a vibe. Now she made something else with Jack Black, which I did not see, and I don't know how many other people saw, The Polka King.
Right, that was on Netflix, I believe, a couple of years back. Yeah. Oh, okay, good point.
But she, she's got heart, and I really like what she did with Infinity Polar Bear, and I like Kevin Kline quite a bit, and Sigourney Weaver, and I didn't know Owen Kline was his son.
Owen Kline is his parents are Kevin Kline and Phoebe Cates. And you know what's interesting? If you ever have time, which you don't, Anderson, you should go on YouTube and put Owen Kline in Criterion. You can actually see Owen Kline in the Criterion closet picking some of his favorite movies. So yeah, just interesting. He's like us. He's a huge cinephile, but he also comes from really well-to-do parents from I don't know where they live. Maybe Upper West Side of New York. I don't know.
Very upper New York. type
Upper-
vibe. Yes, Hampton. I'm sure they Hampton this summer, but he rejected all of that. You can tell that in this movie. He rejected, and I got a little taste of that. I lived in like a upper middle class city
Yes.
growing up, which I absolutely despised, and I could not stand the people around me, and I rejected a lot of that. So I definitely, I think, relate to that.
Speaking of which, I
mean,
remember
I came from a very like a hard working class family too. My mom worked, as a nurse and was never home, and she slept over. She worked overnights, and we were latchkey kids, but we did, live around affluence for sure. And I did not respond well to it, Gregg.
Yes, and I forget. It's you sound like Gregg Araki. I interviewed Gregg Araki years ago for the Doom generation, and I think I asked him about his style. His style. Why is his style a certain way? Why does is he obsessed about a certain type of storytelling? And he says, well, when you grow up with a certain level of parents, you're going to do exactly. He was talking. I think if you recall, he was talking about growing up in a conservative household, and then he broke free of that and stuff like that. And he said exactly. I remember 30 years ago, he said the same sentiments that you're saying right now. Gregg Araki, a filmmaker. I remember you liking back in the 90s. I don't know if you kept up that love for Araki, but to your point about
he's hit and miss with me because he does take swings a lot of the time, and sometimes the ball goes in a direction that I don't really respond to. But I really like Araki as a filmmaker, and
what he's about too, right?
Yeah, and what he's about. And he was great. We had him on Loveline at least a couple times while I was there, and I got to pick his brain and talk to him. He came out and smoked with me because he was a smoker, and loved that Araki. Okay, what was the one that he did with Joseph Gordon-Levitt?
Oh yeah. I forgot. That's the one that you really liked. I forgot. There was. I'll look it up right now. But I remember you telling me, Gregg. You said you stopped me at Westwood One and said, "Hey, Gregg, you've got to see this movie, Joseph Gordon-Levitt." And I totally didn't listen to you then. And
Mysterious Skin, I think.
Yes, that's it. That's the one.
Is that it?
That's the one. Yeah. And you really loved it.
Gregg Araki. Yeah, he's got quite the wide berth of films. Araki, we should do like a spotlight on Araki.
Yeah. I remember you stopped me at our mail slots on Westwood One. You said how much you liked Mysterious Skin with JGL, and I remember those Westwood One mail slots that we'd have. This apropos of nothing, listeners. I apologize.
I could show you exactly where mine was. It was bottom left-hand corner. It was the most convenient one of all, and I would get stuff in there from listeners. And it was actually our mail. We would get our mail in there. It was out in the open. Anyone could just walk by and grab stuff out of there if they wanted. Yeah, I forgot all about that. We get those little inner office envelopes.
Yes, we had to untangle them.
I'd write things profane on there, like I'd write like dirty words and stuff that people had no idea. It's me. Oh yeah, good times back then.
Yeah, that was
good
nice.
Time.
We're closing with that Proustian moment. What is your final pick for September 30th, Anderson Cowan?
Vesper. Vesper is a dystopian future that is one of these laptop looking like movies. It's a dystopian future involving have you seen anything do you know what I'm talking about with Vesper? Take a look at that trailer and tell me that
it looks really good. It looks interesting.
It looks like not to oversell it, but Denis Villeneuve. It looks almost like Arrival as far as some of the effects and whatnot. So it's after the collapse of Earth's ecosystem. Vesper, a 13-year-old girl struggling to survive with her paralyzed father, meets a woman with a secret who will force her to use her wits, strengths, and biohacking abilities to fight for the possibility of having a future. It's a story we've kind of heard where like the child is the only, a young person's the only one we have who could possibly do this. Or it's like almost like she's the one, and I'm sure there's an oracle that she's going to meet. It seems like it might be kind of a tired story. I'm just going off pure look here. This does not look like a sci-fi movie, as in SYFY. The
sci-fi,
sci-fi movies that are just terrible. For the sci-fi network. This looks well beyond that. It looks really, really big, and I don't know if it's going to really get the. We're still a month away.
Well, we're still a month away, and look, I'm glad you asked me about Vesper. I said no, and it goes back to our earlier conversation when you asked me why do I look sad, and I go, well, because I forget everything, and I look on my emails that I requested for a Vesper screener back on August 18th.
Oh, you did?
Still haven't opened up the screener link for that. But
you requested it though?
I requested it, and you asked me if I remembered it. And see, I don't remember anything anymore, Anderson. So my fault. That's why I'm closing the show with a little bit of depression. I keep forgetting.
Watch
things.
Funny Pages.
Funny Pages. Definitely watch Funny Pages.
You should watch that.
No, I don't have a link for that, but I think I will watch it. Watch that, and should I watch Come On as well? Is that this? I know this from a year ago.
Why did you bring that up just now?
I just wanted to say that I
came up on the Film Vault just last night with Brian, and I was going on and on about how great it is, and I was upset that he had not seen it yet.
Oh, really? This I did not know. That's
I know. It's at the end of like the second episode, so I don't even think it's posted yet. That's very weird. Why'd you bring up? Come on. Why?
That's I think
there's a connection.
It's synchronicity, Anderson. So
what's it have to do with anything we're talking about, though? Just a movie.
Maybe I don't know. I see dead people. I don't know what's going on. I just for some reason.
Greg.
But so the answer to that is I definitely should see it. And is it a 5-star film for you, or 4.5 kind of thing? One of these
4.5 star. Yeah, you gotta keep the 5 stars for the the top 20 movies of your life, right?
No, 5 stars to me is the new 4 stars, so I'm okay with that. So okay, definitely our final things to go. Definitely say come on, cleverkindproductions.com. Great, another collaboration with Mike Carano and Anderson Cowan. If you appreciate what they do as a duo.
Yeah. A little more context on that, just for those of you who have not checked out yet, is I've always known that once Atticus was back, in school full time, post through the COVID, there's a lot of interruptions, as we all had the interruptions. But I always knew that if I wanted to continue making movies and whatnot, I was going to have to make a living doing things beyond making narratives and whatnot. So I know how to do marketing. I know how to tell story, and I've done copywriting. I've done all sorts of things in this business, and coupled with Mike, I mean, the quality only goes up. So we are like a full-fledged, experienced production company who are, we're available to do your work. I got contracts, all that stuff. So I know that it's hard to find work. We're going to start, spending money on advertising, on Google Sense, and all that stuff to try and get in. And Yelp. I've already talked to Yelp for a couple hours. I mean, we're very serious. We're very motivated. And we're going to do this with people who don't know who we are. But I wanted to start with our audience and give a sliding scale and give a break to people who are who have video needs, who would like to work with us, whether it's for your business or for personal, anything it is. We have all the tools and the know-how to bring your vision to life. Or if you need a vision, we can help you with that as well. So that's my pitch for Clever Kind Productions. Won't be the last time you hear about it either, because this is how I'll be making a living moving forward on top of everything else I do.
That sounds like a declarative sentence, Anderson. You're very looking forward to this. This is a big part of how you're going to make a living.
I love working, man. I love being out there and, coming up with ideas. It's the one thing that I think I'm really good at. I'm not great at talking. I'm not great at talking about
what? You really?
The best thing I am is you give me a germ of an idea and let me run with it, and I will come up with multiple. That's the one thing that I know I'm good at, and I don't make most of my living off of that. I talk about other people's ideas.
Well, I have nothing to, I'm not good at anything and I forget everything, but definitely cleverkindproductions.com. You will see the link on our show notes. Check us out on Patreon next week. I'm going to be back with Anderson. We're going to be talking about Black Sunday and The Ascent, which I have a feeling that Anderson might be giving me the stink eye, because I actually put that in a recommendation. You might have seen it. And Bruce Perky, I'm going to blame Bruce Perky. It's your fault. Anything else before we go, Anderson, to say goodbye to our CinemAddicts listeners?
That's it. Thanks, guys, for listening. And we will be back, like Gregg said. I miss you, Gregg. And I got to tell you, I love listening to, at the first of the month, I love listening to you, Bruce and Eric. It's my go-to movie podcast, if I'm being honest. And the only thing that I wish it was more often. I just wish that I could get some more updates from you guys. But
I really enjoy carrying them at the beginning. Really, really wonderful people, I guess, quote unquote. Okay, guys, we'll see you next time on CinemAddicts and cleverkindproductions.com, Andy's Antiques, and that's it. We'll see you guys.
Thanks, guys.